Let us be courageous. Abisibene sibindi masiqhubekela phambili. We will reignite the spirit of 1994, the spirit that filled us with unity and endless possibility. Together, sibambene, as the blue machine, here in KZN, we will march forward to reclaim the power from those who are corrupt and steal our future, restoring power to where it truly belongs. Nina, the people, amandla, awethu.
So Chris Pappas seems to have a really firm grasp of the rainbow concept, the rainbow promise, and the rainbow idea. And also really positive, I think he has a really promising future in the politics of South Africa. And so right here in this speech, he's actually speaking about how the DA, especially through his understanding, being a white South African who was born in the region of isiZulu, the Kwazulu-Natal, speaks fluent isiZulu, and that he wishes to spearhead the spirit of the Rainbow Nation as promised in 1994. I think that's something new coming from a young blood, a young white South African. But let's listen to his speech about reviving the spirit of the Rainbow Nation, and I'll be back for some analysis.
In Mangozi, in the Mkhanyakude district, I sat down with Mrs. Mthembu to hear her story. She's a single mother with 3 kids, living off of a child support grant. Yena uselahlekelwe ithemba lokuthola umsebenzi empilweni yakhe. Twice a day, kabili ngosuku, ulanda amanzi emfuleni. She collects water with animals and where people are drinking and when people are washing their clothes. Twice a day. As we sat under the shade of a tree in her garden, Mrs. Mthembu said that she only lives from the 7th of every month to the 7th of the next month. Uphila ukubona umhla ka7 every month ngoba usuku lokhola igrant uselahlekelwe ithemba nje uqhubeka nempilo yakhe. She has lost the willpower to believe that things can get better. We know that many places are without water because of corruption involving water tanks. Siyayazi inkohlakalo lekhona ngoba kunama-waterkan lawa afika namanzi. Corruption is a cancer that eats away at our society. Isiphuca amathuba, isiphuca ikusasa lethu. So iqede inkohlakalo ngokwakha umnyango ozimisele ukulwela nenkohlakalo. We will establish an independent anti-corruption and anti-fraud unit. Corrupt politicians belong in prison, not in parliament. Laba banenkohlakalo osopolitiki fanele bangene lapha eWestville bangaya eParliament. Saka sabafaka ejele lapha eScourt sophinde sibafake. This is the true reality of KwaZulu-Natal. Impilo esiphilayo mihla ngamalanga. But it is also the plan that we have to rescue our province. A reality that the current governing party, and especially the mayor of eThekwini, fail to accept and acknowledge, and they do so deliberately. The hardship that we face and the people of this country face are inhumane. Asinasithunzi empilweni ngaphansi kwalo hulumeni. That is why I'm running to be Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, because I believe that the Democratic Alliance can alleviate this suffering and get our province back on the right road. Democrats, there is an urgency that is required to turn this province around and to end the suffering. Isikhathi sincane ukuthi sijike izinto njengoba sizibona. But the reality is this, is that it is only possible if we do not allow these small pop-up parties to succeed in every election. These flash mob parties, these popcorn parties, spend more time fighting the DA than they do fighting the ANC. Lama maqembu amancane ajaha thina kodwa bekufanele bajaha iANC. We've seen it again and again in eThekwini, Msunduzi, KwaDukuza, Umndoni. Each and every time, these small parties vote to keep the ANC in power. So a vote for a small party is a vote for the ANC. Uma uzovotela iqembu elincane, ngungaba uvotela iANC. It is only the DA that is truly opposed to the ANC in this province. And it is the DA that can offer a tried and tested alternative to rescue KZN. Yithina kuphela esinamandla ukutakula iKZN. It is only the DA that is big enough. Sikhulu angithi Spaning. It is only us that are big enough to beat the ANC in KZN. It is the DA that is taking eThekwini to court for water and sanitation. It is the DA that fought against the Umgeni municipal manager. It is the DA that will ensure 27 million rand spent on a luxury football team will be paid back in Msunduzi. And it is the DA that will take Ugu to court for failing to bring water and sanitation to the South Coast. The reality is that while the DA is fighting the ANC and fighting for a better future, small parties are fighting the DA. And that is the truth of this election. So when you are at the ballot box on the 29th of May, mawulapho eboxini ngomhla ka-29 May, you will have a simple choice to make. And that is between an ANC-led government and a DA-led government here in KwaZulu-Natal. Kulula, sobe sikhetha, sifuna i-ANC noma sifuna i-DA. Sifuna bani? Sifuna i-DA. That is the choice that we have to make. A DA of hope and jobs, or an ANC of hunger and suffering. Democrats, many of you might not know the full history of the DA. Mhlawumbe awazi umlando ophelele we-DA. While the ANC chose to merge with the National Party in 2004, ngeke bakutshela lokho ukuthi bona lama comrade lawa bakhetha ukuhlangana neqembu lobandlululo ngo-2004. And they rewarded them with positions of ministers. Banike izikhundla zomngqongqoshe. Kodwa bazothi sinobandlululo thina. The DA has been fighting for your freedom, has been fighting for fairness, diversity and opportunity for the past 65 years. Skade siqala lo mzabalazo wethu ukulwela amathuba for abantu bonke lana eNingizimu Afrika. We don't just come up before elections. We've been fighting and we will continue to defend. Sizoqhubeka ngalo msebenzi esiwenzayo, especially for the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Landings on Tembisa yona namhlanje, what I'll promise to you today is that myself and this provincial executive will continue to fight against corruption and criminality. Abaholi abahleli lana namhlanje sizoqhubeka ukulwela ukuthi siba nempilo engcono lana esifundazweni. Singaqopha umlando ngomhla ka-29 May, we can make history on the 29th of May. We can liberate ourselves from new forms of oppression. Noma basijwayela bathi kuzofika uJesu emva kokuthi i-DA ingene emandleni. Even when they said Jesus would come before the DA runs this province, sabakhombisa emngeni. We showed them in umngeni and we beat them. Singakwenza nalana esifundazweni. We want a party that delivers water and not t-shirts out of luxury vehicles. Sifuna inhlangano ezolwela inkohlakalo, hayi ukuthi izomela noma izovikela ama-fire pool. Sifuna inhlangano ezoletha ukudla ebantweni, hayi inhlangano ezokhohlwa ukuletha ukudla ezikoleni. We want a party that provides electricity and not load shedding. We want a party that provides toilets instead of holes where our children drown. We want a party that creates workers and not wunga addicts. We can never defend this pressure. Ngeke sivikela lento esibonayo. We will fight it mihle ngamalanga. In isiZulu sithi amandla awethu. NgesiZulu sithi amandla awethu. The power is ours. We need to use that power for future generations so that we can create a better future. We need to use that power, sisebenzisa lamandla, to create a peaceful, meaningful, and long-lasting change in our province. But we need to vote. Kuzodinga ukuthi sivote ngomhla ka-29 May. We have been working hard for the past 6 months. Kade saqala ukusebenza kulolu khetho. And we've been around KZN to tell people that if every DA voter brings one DA voter, we can win KZN. But I want to make sure that everyone understands that plan. Ngifuna ukuqinisekisa ukuthi sonke uhlelo siyalazi. Uhlelo siyalwazi ukutakula iKZN. Ithini? Ithini? Ngicela ukubona isandla esodwa. Wena loyo, amandla akho loyo. Ivoti lakho leli. Let me see one hand on one finger. That is your power. That is your vote. Let me see another finger. Ngicela ukubona umunye umuntu loyo. Umzukulu, umakhelwane, intombi yakho, ubenten wakho. It is your brother, your sister, your grandchild, your mother, your father. It is someone who voted for a small popcorn party. And that is why we say 1 + 1 is? 1 + 1 is? On the 29th of May, I believe that the DA will be the biggest party in KwaZulu-Natal. Ithini esizohamba phambili lana esifundazweni. But to reach the milestone, to reach the end, kuzodingakala ukuthi for the next 18 days, sekusele kancane 18 days, we must reach every doorstep. We must share every video. We must change our WhatsApp statuses. We must engage voters on the street, and we must make our presence felt. Sizobakhombisa ukuthi iDA into enkulu sikhona indawo zonke. We cannot afford. Asikwazi ukuvuka ngomhla ka-29 May and say that we could have done more. The eyes of future generations are on us. They will question us. Bazosibuza, abazosilandela. Ukuthi nenzeni ukuvukela ukusasa lethu. What did you do to defend our nation and our future? So I understand that this election has been long. Kade saqala. Inyawo zethu zibhlungu, our feet are sore. Kade simemeza kuma-debate namarali. But I'm also aware of the intimidation. Ngiyazi ukuthi bayasabisa emgwaqweni. But for this election, the stakes are too high for us to say we could have done more. Asikwazi ukuvuka ngomhla ka-30 May sithi, kungaba sisebenze kakhulu kunalokho ebesikusebenza. So ingakho ngithi namhlanje, ngicela ukuthi nisukume nami. Please stand up with me. Ngicela ukuthi nisukume nami. Ngicela ukuthi nisukume. Everyone in the back, stand up. Ngicela ukuthi nisukume nami. Let us carry the message of hope today. Join me as we fight to reclaim our future. Ikusasa elethu. For the next 18 days, let us be courageous. Abisibende sibindi masiqhubekela phambili. We will reignite the spirit of 1994, the spirit that filled us with unity and endless possibility. Together, sibambene, as the blue machine, here in KZN, we will march forward to reclaim the power from those who are corrupt and steal our future, restoring power to where it truly belongs. Nina, the people, Amandla, awethu! Amandla! Awethu!
Yeah, so what do you guys think about this speech? I think it's a really possible, really interesting alternative to have a white South African really push now for the spirit of the Rainbow Nation. I think it would be a really interesting view to see, one that is really honest and has the heart of the people of the wider people of South Africa, and not just one driven by self-interest. So a white South African like Chris Pappas, who has the heart for the colored, for the blacks, for the Indians, I think it would really be interesting because it would bring South Africa in a really new, different light. And even though the torch of rainbowism was lit by Black President Nelson Mandela, that this torch now can now be carried forward by a white South African to really continuously march on with the rainbow idea and the rainbow ideology. But one central challenge would still be this negotiation of historical injustice, which several parties, I believe, would likely constantly bring up, and this might be the challenge, because there would have to be right strategies in place on how to resolve issues surrounding things like land, surrounding things like equality, and balancing the whole divide between the economic status of one group of people and the other. These are the challenges, the historical challenges we know facing South Africa at the moment. And so this would be one of the challenges. And having a white South African really step into those shoes to carry on that mandate, dropping aside self-interest, dropping aside maybe an acquiescence to the interests of white South Africa, but really maintaining a really neutral, pragmatist stance, both ideologically and cosmologically, as a leader of the rainbow concept in South Africa. I think that would really be interesting, because then it would also have a really interesting positionality in the African Union. The AU at the moment, most of the AU discussions at the AU at the moment I really don't see or hear much from the white perspective, the white African perspective, at the level of the AU. But this kind of motion, this kind of direction by such a white South African who has this really heart for the rainbow concept and the Africanity of the rainbow concept in that regard would really be interesting in the African Union debates, and really we'll see how Africa responds to that, the wider Africa, because right now the wider Africa is responding heavily and positively to Julius Malema's message, which is something that white South Africa, I don't know if maybe white South Africa is really taking note of, but Julius Malema's support really seems to be coming more from the non-South Africans, outside of South Africa. And I think that's a really interesting political shift, which, within the politics of South Africa, it might be interesting to start taking note of. And also, I also think that it's also interesting that the non-South Africans have a firm understanding of the clashes which the EFF is actually experiencing within South Africa. And so both sides have to understand the political divide surrounding the support for a more nuanced rainbow concept, and how that would be interpreted by the wider African continent and the South Africans within South Africa. So these are kind of like the liberal thoughts I have concerning the possibility of Chris Pappas reigniting the rainbow idea. But what do you guys think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments.